Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. It is time for the review of the Samson Rs112 powered bi-amped speakers. Okay, so I have one over here and I have one over here, so sorry, but I don't have a super wide angle lens on my camera. Anyway, so let's discuss these. I got them from Long McQuaid not that long ago. Paid $300 a piece for them. There's 2 channels on each, both have compressors, you got your volume controls, etc. You have a joiner to join multiple speakers together and daisy chain them. Bluetooth capability as well in each one, so play your stuff wirelessly from your phone or tablet, whatever, for your music. You have an auxiliary input as well, so you can also use that with MP3 players, keyboards, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so basically you get 3 inputs to do what you want, plus the Bluetooth. Now, output power is rated at 400 watts peak, 200 watts RMS, 12-inch woofer with 2 voice coils, 1-inch tweeter, of course, or high-frequency driver, if you want to call that. 115 decibels of output per speaker. It can peel the drywall off the studs in here, and I'm still only using the main master control on each speaker at half. Okay, my house runs at half, and then all my other controls sit really low because it can get really obnoxious in here. So let's give you a little bit of an idea, not of full volume though, because people upstairs are home and I don't want to get them ticked off. So let's start up the drum beat machine. Now this is 0. Okay, so you know there's nothing coming out of the keyboard itself. Okay, nothing out of those speakers. Okay, so 12 o'clock on the piano. Now this is off of a stereo channel, so it relies on how much I'm actually putting out through the master volume, which actually right now is only at about 1 o'clock. So let's bring that to 3. Full blast. We get a little bit more. But if we start raising up the board, it's going to get really super loud. Okay? So for that part, that's that. So I'll play a little bit here. That A does not go well with that. So, that's just part of a song I wrote. Anyways, quality of sound reproduction is like phenomenal, okay? Really works well. I was actually going to go after another set of studio monitors. I was looking at Rockets because they have a new set out that completely equalizes your room, right? It's kind of like sick. Really expensive though. And I almost did it, you know, and I started thinking, well, maybe I'll go back to the Yorkville, you know, YSM8s, because they were really good. But I started to think, you know, I mean, I like to really crank stuff up in here. I really want to hear what the real sound is like, not what is in the studio monitor. And it's very tricky with studio monitors. In a real professional recording studio, they are not using Yorkvilles. They are going to be using stuff that is so much higher end in their booth, okay, which is completely isolated from the jam area, okay, where you're doing your performance, okay, to record. For in this kind of a studio setup for me, I'm a one-man show in here and I do it all. So I either preset my mixes ahead of time for 1-track recording, or I'll do multi-tracks depending on the song and the instruments that I have to add into it all after, which means then I do my EQing later, so everything goes right into the system dead flat, okay? And then I worry about tweaking my vocals and instruments and all that jazz. These speakers, for listening back to that mix and really dialing it in, like just absolutely perfect to my expectations, these things actually work better than any studio monitors are going to work for me. Okay, and what I hear in here for sound quality is going to be, you know, really good on my home stereo, which has much bigger speakers and a very powerful amplifier on those speakers. And of course in the car, and I expect it to sound really good on all platforms. And if you don't have really good monitors, then you're going to have a really hard time getting your mix right, okay? And I find that, you know, I use my in-ear monitors when I'm doing stuff a little loud. You know, I want to be able to hear it really loud in my head. So this way this room is dead silent, okay? Unless I'm doing an acoustic guitar, you're going to, you know, I'll hear a little bit of the acoustic guitar, but not very much. But everything goes to the recording. So this way I avoid crosstalk of different instruments too this way. But listening back to what I've recorded, these things are actually doing the job quite well. Now, there's a lot of purposes for these kind of speakers. Okay, these are PA type speakers, so they're great using a preamp mixing board. So you cannot hook these speakers to a powered board that has its own amp in it. You have to use a preamp board, okay, or a passive board, because these have their own amplifiers in each speaker, okay. And as such, yeah, that's how it goes. Now, I like being able to play my piano with these speakers. I like to be able to play my electric guitar. Yeah, I like my Katana amp. I really love the sound of it. But I love it even more when I run that Katana amp through the sound system and out into these speakers with my vocals, because then I can really hear what's going on in the same mix. And it's like, wow, that's like amazing, right? And so I like to rock out the place. And I also have 2 sample pads right now. I'm still considering a drum set again. I don't know why, but I'm thinking about it. The decision gets made today, either way. One of the sample pads, if it ends up going, I'm going to get a drum kit. But I got some videos to do on those 2 first. So with these things, the quality of sound is outstanding in them. You got lots of dB. If you can't deal with 115 dB, I don't know what. I mean, 115 dB will blow your eardrums out at full power. Okay, it can, and it will. All right, it vibrates this room, and I'm not even running half the power of these things. Okay, I'm literally at half on there, but I'm not using half the actual output through the rest of the system, pushing them to that halfway level. And yeah, it can get pretty bouncy in here. So. Awesome. So very ideal for small to medium-sized venues with these speakers. Okay, no problems. A lot of your outdoor events can work rather well depending on the kind of event it is and how many, you know, how far in distance you got to travel with the speakers, of course, obviously, because sound travels differently outdoors than it does indoors. Okay, because all buildings are shaped different as well inside. So they do have very multitudinous uses that's going to work for you. Okay. You just have to decide, do I need more wattage and dB, or do I need like 2 pairs of these, or do I need just 1 pair, whatever. Now, if you're thinking church use, most churches, physical size anyways, a lot of them are going to be very ideal for these speakers as a main PA speaker. But in any venue, no matter where you're dealing with, okay, these are perfect stage monitors because they can lay down like a wedge as well, like a regular monitor can. But at least now with something like this, your stage monitor, using this as a stage monitor, your sound tech is going to have to EQ to the house anyways, but you want to be EQ'd on stage so that you can hear yourself for what you actually sound like. Okay, because when I play in church, I play electric guitar in church, I play acoustic guitar. Now, I do bring my Katana amp with me for the electric guitar because it has all my effects that I'm going to use built right into it, so I don't even use a pedal board anymore. I ditched all my pedals, I ditched my pedal boards. Katana Mark II, that's all I need. Boom! Does everything I'll ever need to do for rock, jazz, blues, heavy metal, whatever. Okay? Then I can plug my acoustic guitar into it as well. Now, on stage, I use that. I will have the speaker actually running on it, and then the sound tech runs me out to the PA. Okay, My stage monitor that I don't even have my vocals in anymore, but if I did want to do that, I could, and these could at least be EQ'd properly. Okay, so you can hear what you really sound like on stage, so you know what you're going to sound like to the public, okay, which is a huge thing. Most stage monitors that churches are using, a lot of them are basically nothing more than an acoustic amplifier, okay, which is a wedge design. Okay, Yorkville makes a lot of them. Yorkville is very popular with professional musicians, with churches, amateurs alike, and so on. The problem with these types of amp monitors, okay, is they cannot balance out your vocals and your instrument properly for bass, mids, and trebles. They're very lousy for that. They're very tinny, okay, and they're very highly subject to feedback when you're close to them, even with a headset on. So you got to really watch things. I mean, basically, the ultimate thing is no sound on stage, but you can't do that other than in your monitors. You do need something, but if you keep your levels down low enough, you're okay. But are you going to be able to hear what you sound like? No. So you can't even tell the sound tech, hey, look, I need a bit more mid here, and I need a little bit less bass on my voice, because you can't hear the house system, okay? You need to hear what's on stage. These are a perfect solution for stage monitors, because you hear every frequency level possible coming at you, and you can actually hear and understand what's going on in the mix, okay? Now I can still plug my Katana amp into the sound system, turn the speaker off, and have everything come through this on stage with my vocals, and I can hear everything properly, and I can hear the balance and how the mix is balanced between my guitar and my vocals, so that I know if it's mixed right on the aux channels, then the technician should have no problem balancing at the house for even if we're going to record. Okay, and we do record our services for our music, and we've been trying harder and harder and harder to get better and better quality mixes, and it's almost right on the button now, only because we've lowered all the levels on stage enough that things aren't cross-talking over people's mics. Anyways, so you need stage monitors, yes, but you don't need them very loud. So you're never going to use the potential of these things on stage. But in putting out to the PA to the crowd, you do need horsepower. Yes, I agree. But these are going to be definitely suitable for very small churches, very small venues, coffee shops. You're going to the Legion to play. These things are going to be great for you. They'll be great in most mid-sized venues. So venues that hold, say, 200 to, say, 300 people tops, these would be ideal even at the current wattage and dB level. They're going to do the job really well for you. Okay? Get into any kind of a venue system much bigger than that, yeah, you're going to struggle. You're going to need a lot more horsepower and more dB level as well. Okay? You can have 1,000 watts at 115 dB, or you can have 400 watts at 115 dB. Guess what? There ain't much difference there. It's minuscule. You need more dB, right, to get that stuff really pounding through and not distorting either, because you want to avoid the distortion. So, anyways, I like them personally for everything I use them for. I listen to my music CDs, I listen to my cassettes, I listen to the playback of stuff I've recorded. They're very idealistic, work awesome, work great with drum kits too. They're the best personal monitor you can have for an on-stage drum kit, okay, or a drum kit even in the house. This is your best choice. Personal drum monitors, I've done reviews on them. I don't like them. I think they suck. Yes, they are better than a crummy amp, okay, because, yeah, you can plug anything you want into any amp, but it doesn't mean it's going to sound good, or you could blow up your amp. Like, you don't plug a drum kit into a guitar amp because you are going to cook that amp, okay? You don't hook a drum kit into a bass amp. I've done that too. Sounds horrible, okay, because it's just too gross, all right? So they do have a reason why they make actual drum amps, but they also have a reason why they actually make real PA speakers, which work even better than a drum amp, okay, and far less money. I've done reviews of some drum amps on my channel, and even at being at the wattage they were at, you're not getting that kind of power. There's not enough dB to back up that wattage to say, yeah, that actually sounds like a true 150 watts or 75 watts or whatever it was. Okay, there's not enough dB there, and the speaker quality is just not up to par, in my opinion, on those drum amps compared to using one of these as a drum amp. Okay, this I find much better and far cheaper too. And besides, you don't need 500 watts of electronic drum power for a personal drum amp on stage. You know, you got to keep your stage going, yes, and you got to have some volume, but this at 400 watts, man, these things rock, and you'll hear that on the following videos today, because I'm going to be doing some demos on some sample pads for you guys, so drum pads, electronic stuff, and you're going to hear them being played through here. Now, we're not cranking stuff up because there's no point to it. The camera's only going to capture so much, and it's going to cut it off to protect its own system. So, but on the piano side of things, I mean, you know, these are nice. This is a nice sound. Very nice, you know, and I have the bass and the treble right in the middle, so it's, you know, just balanced out sound. You know, you can hear the highs, you can hear the mids, you can hear the lows coming in really nice. You know, it's really good. Okay, and then when we go into the piano side of things, actually sounds really amazingly good. So really happy with that. So 4 1/4 out of 5. I mean, for 300 bucks a piece, you can't really go wrong, as long as they suit your purpose. Okay. You do have to have a mixing board, obviously, if you're going to do multiple things like I do, but there is 2 channels on each amp, on each speaker, so you can put 2 devices into each one, no big deal. Okay, I just want to run them the way I do off my mixing board, so I have a separate left channel, separate right channel, and then I have all my instruments plugged into my mixing board so I can balance out my mix the way I want to listen to stuff. Okay, of course, then there's that whole stereo thing, right? So, but they are amazing for the money. They're very good quality for the money. Quite happy with them. It was a purchase that I was a little nervous about, because I was thinking, you know, go get another set of studio monitors, which would actually cost me, you know, about the same amount of money for the Yorkvilles that I had before, the YSM8s. But then I started thinking, well, I really want to jam out, and the Yorkvilles I know are not up to that. Okay, not to really super jam out. And I could use this as a portable PA system too, because I do have the mixing board and the speakers, and yeah, I could go and I could do outdoor performances with these. I can't do that with a pair of studio monitors properly, you know, because even at the wattage of those YSM8s, they don't have the dB, and they're not also made for being run full blast like that either, on a continuous basis outdoors. And with the smaller cabinets too, smaller speakers, they're going to be a little rough to do that. You know, we've tried that before in the past, and it just doesn't work well. So this is your solution by far, and you're definitely getting woof power for sure. But I say 4 1/4 because they are definitely not perfect. Okay, nothing is perfect. They all have their flaws. Definitely worth the money though. I would probably say, as far as complaints go, I'm thinking probably, well, I don't know, the dials are pretty good. You know, there's really no real slack there, so they're all right. They do have the Bluetooth connectivity. They do have the separate aux port for whatever you want to plug into it. So technically you have 3 input stages, plus your Bluetooth. You know, there's just not a ton to say, but I really don't want to say, oh, they're worth 4 3/4, because they're really just about perfect, because they're not perfect, and they have their limitations. Okay, even, you know, I would be limited if I'm going to go out and play a huge venue outdoors. These are not going to work for me in a huge outdoor event. I would need a lot more horsepower than what these can provide. Okay. But small to mid-sized venues, you know, 200, 300 people indoor event, yeah, easily, you know, but not much more than that. So that's kind of where you're at with all your scores and stuff, right? So that's what I think about them. I think they're fantastic. I think that if you're going to be doing the same sort of thing I am in here, in this room, these would be ideal as a set of listen backs, and great to jam out with because you can pipe your guitar through your microphone and have everything going really obnoxiously loud through here and really have a fun time in here. I have a hoot in here, to be honest. I have a blast. And I love how they sound on the piano too. And if you want a basic comparison here, let's do one more thing and then we're out of here, okay? So there's no sound coming out of here, as you guys know, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the sound of the piano. Okay? Nothing. Okay? Because I'm plugged into a headphone jack, it disables my onboard speakers until I do this. Function, speaker control. Now, same volume control setting on the piano. Nothing's changed. Now, for a piano player in a church, you would want these speakers turned on. And it sounds like a very realistic piano. Like, it's really nice. Okay, so let's turn the sound back off. Normal is off. Back to the exit. Now, let's go back to the piano again. Same 9 o'clock on the dial. This is what your audience hears. Except for boos. Well, if you make boos, they'll hear it. That's a piece that I wrote, just, keeps me on trouble with YouTube. So, there's definitely a huge difference in sound, obviously, because this is like small built-in speakers and its own cabinetry, and it has its own main sound here, but it's piped out to the speakers. And now I can EQ this to get it even more richer sounding, more bust through the mix kind of sound if I want to do that. Or I can be happy with the way I have it now. It's up to me. So, I can alter anything I want because of the mixing console, right? So anyway, that's an idea for you of the differences. Now, take the sound quality you hear in this video with a grain of salt, only because YouTube compresses stuff. Even though I do have really good mics on my camera, microphones on cameras can only do so much. But I also give you guys the sound out of the speakers because you want to hear the speakers. That's what you're here for. What do they sound like? Well, the best quality sound would be to actually be right here with me, but this is as close as you get. And, you can take my word for it or not. I don't care. It's up to you. You make your own decision on yourself. I would suggest go check out a set of these speakers, whether they're at Long and McQuaid if you're in Canada, which is the best place to shop in Canada, or wherever you happen to live, go to a store that has these speakers, listen to them in the store, and get your head close to the speakers too, because that's an important thing to hear the sound coming out of these speakers. They have to be near you and at your level, because every room acoustic is different. These will sound different in this room as they will out in another room in my house. They'll sound completely different outside as well. But in the in-store experience to listen to these, you want to be able to get as close as you can to the speakers to listen to them carefully to see, okay, is that going to give me some really good results. It probably will, blah blah blah. And if you're running a mixing board, you can EQ anything to alter and shape the sound that's being output as well to be more pleasing too. But like I said, everything has their limits, but it is up to you in the end. If you like these, go out and buy a set. If you don't, keep shopping for something different. It's entirely your choice. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I'm at 4 1/4. They are definitely worth the money in my opinion. They are definitely fantastic for my purposes and uses. They would be fantastic for the uses I've mentioned in this video as well. But in the end, it's your dime. So spend your money how you like. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to check the link below in the video description. If you are in Canada, check out Long McQuaid. Buy online, go in store, hey, whatever. And see you on the next one. Ciao.